at the similarities between PERT and CPM, these are that both follow the same steps and use the network diagram. Yeah, so in both the cases we use the same network diagram and the same procedure for finding early start, early finish, late start, late finish timings, and the project completion time and the critical activities. This is same. Both you are used to plan the schedule of individual activities that make the project. Again, this is same in both the activities, in both the methods. They can be used to determine earliest and latest start and finish times for each activity, as I told you before. Okay, now what are the differences between both of these terms? So, as I said, PERT is a probabilistic in nature, whereas CPM is deterministic. As we have seen an example in CPM, just one duration T is given to you. One time is given for each activity, like activity A get completed in this duration, activity B get completed in this much duration. Whereas in PERT, it is a probabilistic in nature. You don't have a fixed duration of completion of a project. Instead, you will be having the time, the approximate time that activity will get completed, the most likely time, the optimistic time, and the pessimistic time of completion of the activities. So this is one major difference between PERT and CPM. In CPM, the estimate of activity duration are based on the historical data. Like we are getting this duration of activity completion on the basis of the historical data, the data which is already available from the future, from the previous study. Okay. Whereas in PERT technique, the estimates are uncertain and we talk of ranges of duration and the probability that an activity duration will fall into that region, in that range. So whenever we are talking about probability, it means we are just estimating the time and we say that okay, this activity will get completed in that duration. Okay. Then CPM concentrates on time and cost trade-off. Okay. So these are the basic differences. Now we'll talk about the terminologies that we are going to use. So we call a predecessor event. It is an event that immediately precedes some other event without any other events intervening. Okay, it's same like what we have used in CPM. It may be the consequence of more than one activity. Okay, then we have successor event, which is defined as the event or events, it can be more than one event, that immediately follows some other event without any other events intervening. It may be the consequence of more than one activity. See, these definitions are same that we have used in CPM. Now what other thing is, what do we mean by a PERT activity? It is the actual performance of a task. It consumes time, it requires resources. So what comes under resources? Labor, material, space, machinery, etc. And it can be understood as representing the time, effort and resources required to move from one event to another. Okay. A PERT activity, it cannot be completed until the event preceding it has occurred. So similar to CPM, we cannot go to another activity unless until we finish with the activity, previous activity. Okay. Now, as we say that in PERT, it is a probabilistic approach. We are going to deal with different estimates of time. Time estimates. So one of them is optimistic time. We are going to use the notation A as per our textbook. So how it is defined? The minimum possible time required to accomplish a task, assuming that everything proceeds better and than normally expected. So it's like a person is very optimistic and the person is following the optimistic approach and assume that everything will go very smoothly, and even if there are few things that cannot be better, the best will happen. So that's one of the time that will be given in PERT activity. The second time is pessimistic time, which we denote by the letter B. Okay, it is the maximum possible time. So you can see the difference here. It's optimistic person, which is a positive approach person. It assumes that the work will get completed in the minimum possible time, whereas a pessimistic time, it will be the maximum possible time required to accomplish a task, assuming that everything goes wrong. Okay, so but still up to some extent. Okay, next is most likely time. This is the third time that we are having, and it denoted by M. It is the best estimate. It's neither the minimum nor the maximum. It is best estimate of the time required to accomplish a task, assuming that everything proceeds as normal. Means everything is not so good, not so bad. It works under normal condition. So that is most likely time. So we have now three different times: optimistic time, pessimistic time, and most likely time. So these are the three times that are defined in a PERT network. Okay. Now we cannot work with three different times. So for that purpose, we calculate the expected time, that we denote by DE, or we can simply use the notation small t. So how do we calculate that expected time out of these three given times? So it is defined as the best estimate of the time required to accomplish a task, assuming that everything proceeds as normal. So what we are assuming? The implication being that the expected time is the average time. How it is defined? Expected time is the average time the task would require if a task were repeated on a number of occasions. So if you are repeating the task, you are always able to complete the task on this time, at this time. Okay, so that is the expected time. Okay, so the next definition is critical path, which is same as we have defined in critical path method. It is the longest possible continuous pathway taken from the initial event to the terminal event. It determines the total calendar time required for the project, means how long it will take to complete the project. Okay, therefore any delay along the critical path will delay the reaching of the terminal event by at least the same amount. So as we have seen in the critical path method, if we delay one of the activities, definitely it's going to affect the total project completion time. Now, what do we mean by slack? Slack is on the slack, or we can say slack time of an event is a measure of excess time or resources available in achieving this event. So we can have two types of slacks. Positive slack, it will indicate ahead of schedule, that we are ahead of our scheduled timing, whereas a negative slack would indicate behind schedule, that we are late in completing that work. And zero slack means it is on schedule. So this is what we have noticed when we were solving CPM. All the critical activities were having zero slack. So it means we cannot delay those activities, or otherwise it will affect the project completion time. Now, early start, you have already familiar with this thing. Early start, it is the maximum of early finish of all preceding activities, unless the activity in question is the first activity, whereas where in the early start is 0. So when we begin the initial activities, for them, those activities, early start is 0, and for the remaining activities who are having some preceding activity, it is maximum of early finish of all the preceding activities. Okay, then early finish is nothing but early start plus task duration. So how do we calculate it? Early start plus T, the duration of the activity. Then late start is late finish minus the duration of the activity, and late finish is the minimum late start of all the succeeding activities unless the activity is the last activity. When activity is the last activity, in that case it is equal to the total project completion time, or it is early finish. Now there are two approaches to draw the network diagram of a PERT case. It's activity on arrow. It is a type of PERT diagram where activities are written on arrows. Then there is another approach, activity on node, where the activities are written on nodes. Okay, and we are going to follow activity on node approach. Now, when we create a PERT diagram, what are the steps that we have to follow? First, we have to determine the task that project require and the order in which the task should be completed. This is must. If you are not aware about this thing, then you are not able to start creating the PERT diagram. Then, determine the optimistic, most likely and pessimistic time for each task. This should be available to you. If these three times are not available to you, then you are not able to work further. Then we have to compute the expected time. Now how do we calculate the expected time? We use the formula A plus 4m plus B divided by 6, where A stands for optimistic time, M stands for most likely time, and B stands for pessimistic time. So we multiply most likely time by 4, add it with optimistic and pessimistic time, and divided it by 6. Okay, so this gives you unique duration for each activity. Then we are going to use this time to do the calculation of project completion. Okay, and then you have to decide whether you have to use activity on arrow or activity on node diagram. We are going to follow activity on node diagram for this segment. Okay, so let's say we have this example. So in what you can see, this is a project PERT activities. Okay, and you have to find the critical path in this. So you have the activities, you have the immediate preceding activities, and we have three different times: optimistic time, most likely time, and pessimistic time. Then you have to draw the network diagram, and hence you have to find the project completion time. So to find the to draw the network diagram, we just need first two columns, this one and this one. But to find the total project completion time, we need one duration of each activity. Now there are three durations. So instead of using any one of them randomly, we calculate the duration for each activity by using this formula. Okay, so we will use the formula A plus 4m plus B divided by 6. So while using the calculators, be careful, don't forget to put the bracket. Otherwise, if you do it without bracket, only B is divided by 6 and it will give you the wrong calculation. You can even make use of Excel file for doing this calculation if you are working for an assignment. Okay, so I copied all the data here, and then here we will use T, which we define as A plus 4m plus B divided by 6. Okay, so for that, what we can do, we can simply go here, simply type it equal to Now put the bracket. What is A? A is this time, means this cell, plus 4 multiply the next cell, which is M, plus B, which is in the cell I5. Close the bracket, divide by 6, enter. Okay, so this gives you the duration T. Now you have to apply the same procedure for this. So one thing is, you can repeat the same steps like what I said. Equal, put the bracket, A, which is 2, plus 4 multiply M, plus B, divide by 6, enter. Or other way is, see, this number comes out to be 2.833. The other way is, suppose if you don't want to do it in this way, you just select here, and you can see when you bring to the corner of this cell, you see a small plus sign there. Just click and drag. So it will automatically calculate the values by using the same formula. So here the thing is that instead of writing the number 3, 4 and 5 here, you should select the cell. Then only this is possible. But if you write the numbers, then it is not possible. Okay. So for assignment purpose, it's okay. You can do the calculation like this. But when you are solving it on a paper, you have to use the calculator for that. Okay. So now we have this time duration T. So now what we are going to do when we are going to work on the the network diagram, we will have these activities. Let me put it here, and we select this time only, the last column. Wait a minute. This is C, and we are going to use this duration here. Okay. Now here you are getting 2.833. It's okay, you can round it off. Select format cell, and then you can take the number up to 2 decimal places. It's okay. Okay. So now this is your table with the duration T. So this is duration, activity completion duration, which is T. And now we will draw the network diagram. Okay, so when we draw the network diagram for this, what we can see, activity A and B, they don't have any preceding activity. It means these are the activities to be started at the beginning. Okay, so let this be start. Okay, and then we have activity A here. I will make a big bracket because then we have to calculate early start and early finish also. Activity A, and this will be activity B. So this is activity A, this is activity B. So we are done with A and B. Now activity C and D after activity A. So again we need 2 boxes. So after activity A we have activity C and D, and after activity B we have activities E and F. Now next we see that activity C and E. After activity C and E we have activity G, and after activity D and F we have activity H. So it's better to change the position of C and D so that we don't have more intersections. So let's say this is activity C and this is activity D, so that C and E, after C and E we can have an activity here. Okay. Now once we complete with this network diagram, what we have to do, we put the timings for each activity. Activity A takes 4 days. Activity B duration is 2.83. For activity C, the duration is 5. For activity D, it's 4.33. For activity E, it is 3.5. For activity F, it's 5.33. Activity G, it is 3.5. And for activity H, it is 4.33. Okay, these are the duration. Now what we have to do, we have to calculate the early start, early finish, late start, late finish time for each of the activities. So how do we do that? We know that if this is activity and this is the duration T, then how we represent? Early start, early finish. Here, late start, late finish. So early start is the maximum of preceding activities. This is how I defined, right? And if it is the beginning activity, it will be 0. Early finish will be early start plus the duration of the activity. Late start will be late finish minus the duration. And late finish is the maximum time, maximum, or you can say the complete duration, the total duration. You can say it is as early finish if it's end activity, means if it is the last activity, or it is defined as minimum of all the succeeding activities. Okay, so this is how we define it. It is same as what we have done in the critical part. So let's start here. Now as we know that A and B, these are the initial activities. So early start for them 0, and here also the early start will be 0. Now what will be early finish? 0 plus 4. So it will be 4. Here 0 plus 2.83. So it will be 2.83. Okay, similarly. Now this is activity D. Activity D can proceed only after completion of activity A. So early start for this one will be 4. Even for C it will be 4. Okay, and let me just write it properly. Let this be C. Then we have more space here. Okay, so it's 4. Okay, and 4 plus 5, this gives you 9. This is 4 plus 4.33 gives you 8.33. Similarly, activity E and F can start only after completion of activity B. So we will put the time here 2.83, and here also 2.83. Then calculate this one. 2.83 plus 3.5. So it will give you 3, 8 plus 5, 13. So it will give you 336.33. Here when you calculate, this is 0.61567, 8.16. Okay, now comes here. So now when we are calculating early start for G, now G is having two preceding activities, C and E. So in this case we have to follow this rule. When we have two preceding activities, when we are having two preceding activities, what we have? It is the maximum of early start is maximum of the preceding activities. So here for G we should have this as maximum of the values of 9 and 6.33. So which is 9. So here we get 9. So 9 plus 3.5 gives you 12.5. Similarly for H is having two preceding activities, D and F. So again this time will be maximum of the early finish of this D, which is 8.33, and H, it is 8.16. So it gives you 8.16. So what is maximum? 8.33. So it gives you 8.33. Now when you add it, 12.66. Now here what you can see, activity G and H are going to be the last activities. So we say that the project is completed only once both the activities are completed. Okay, so activity G gets completed in 12.5 days, whereas activity H get completed in 12.66 days. So the entire project will get completed only once activity H get completed. So we say that here the total finish time is 12.66. Again we selected the maximum. So we say project completion time is 12.66 days. Now as we are saying approximately, this is a probabilistic approach. So here it's possible to get the days in the number. So we can approximate it by 13 days. So now we will work with the backward, like late start and late finish. So as the total project completion time is 12.66, so it is 12.66 here, and 12.66 minus 4.33 gives you 8.33. Similarly for activity G we will have here 12.66 because this is the ending activity. And 12.66 minus 3.5 gives you 9.16. Correct? Okay, now let's do this one. So here the time comes 9.16, here also 9.16 minus 5 gives you 4.16. Let me just write it properly. 4.16, and here we do the subtraction. Okay, similarly what we will get here, 8.33. 8.33 for this activity, also 8.33 for this activity. Minus 4.33 gives you 4. Okay. Okay, so we get these times. Now we have to calculate for A and B. Now see, A and B are having two succeeding activities. So we need to select that what will be the time. So for that we have to follow this one. It's minimum of the succeeding activities. Okay. So in this case now, for this number it will be minimum of the late start of D and C, which is 4.16. So what is the minimum? 4. So we will get here 4, and 4 minus 4, 0. Similarly for B, here it should be minimum of late start of both the activities, 5.66 and 3. So what is the minimum? 3. So here you will get it 3. Okay. Now 3 minus 2.83. This will give you 0.17. So this is how you will find all the timings. So next is to find the critical path. So for critical path, how do we know that it's a critical path? First we should identify the critical activities, isn't it? So for that we need to calculate slack time. Here what we know, the slack time, it's the difference between early start, late start, early finish, late finish timing. So it is here 0. Here the slack is 0. What's the slack here? It is 0.16. What's the slack here? 0.17. Here also we have slack. Means we say that it is not 0. Slack is not 0. Here also we can say it is not 0, which is 0.16. But here the slack is 0. So all the activities for which the slack is 0 are the critical activities. So the critical path will be start, go to activity A, then go to activity D, then after D go to activity H and finish the project. So what we got? Project completion time this. Critical path. What is it? It was A, D and H. A, D and H. A to D and D to H. Okay. What are the critical activities? Critical activities are A, D and activity H. To check if the critical path is correct or not, we should add the activity time of A, D and H, and it should come equal to the project completion time. If it is not coming equal to that, it means we did some mistake somewhere. A, D and H. So let's go back to the table. We have to add A, D and H. So A, D, H. A is 4, D is 4.33 and H 4.33. Okay, so it is 12.66. Okay, which is the total project completion time. So it means it's correct. So this is how we finish the network diagram by using PERT. So the only difference is here we calculated the duration T by using the formula A plus 4M plus B over 6, because we were having the optimistic time, pessimistic time and most likely time. So we combined them and got one time duration and draw the network diagram and complete.